Hey everyone, my name is Maisha and I'm a Sephora Beauty Director. And today we'll be talking about glitter, one of my favorite things. I'm gonna show you 3 easy beginner-friendly ways to wear glitter, from the very subtle to something in between to something super impactful and just like high beam glittery. So let's get started. I'm gonna teach you 3 different easy ways I would incorporate glitter, especially if you've never worn glitter before, maybe you're a little nervous about it. So the first way I think is the most subtle, beautiful, classy way to wear it. I'll be using the Makeup by Mario Master Crystal Reflector Highlighter. So this is a multi-use highlighter. You can use it on the face or the eyes. This is in the shade Bronzite. There's a white shade and then like a really nice yellow gold. So I find this one to be very universal. So you can see it's sort of my skin tone color. They're all translucent, all 3 shades, but it just gives this like really beautiful light to the skin. I like to actually use a setting spray with glitters like this because I find that they just adhere to the eye or wherever you're putting them a little bit better. The setting spray I've been using lately is from Charlotte Tilbury. It's the Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I just find that it makes makeup last so long, including my eye makeup, and it doesn't make my skin too matte. It makes it kind of natural and dewy. So I'm gonna spray a little bit on. And now I'm going to just dab a little bit of this glitter on. So I'm gonna be taking the Pro Crease Brush number 24. It's just a tiny crease brush. I'm gonna dip in here a little bit. My lids are still a little wet. And this is just gonna add like a nice subtle sparkle. I love the way this looks on bare skin. Just a nice like sheer dewy complexion. And you just put this on a bare lid. It looks so, so pretty. It's gonna boost what I have on a little bit. And if I want to, I can just like pop a little bit on the brow bone. It's very subtle. I love this look when you're wearing kind of no eyeshadow at all and you want to look like you put a lot of effort in, or you want to turn your head very slightly, especially in low lighting, candlelight. It just adds that beautiful amount of sparkle, and there's no reason to be intimidated because it's so sheer but impactful that you can't mess it up. That's the easiest way to put glitter on, I think. Just kind of dust it on like fairy dust. Another classic that I find that everybody responds well to. I worked in store for many, many years, and when someone would come in asking for glitter, I would always show them this Urban Decay Heavy Metal glitter. It comes in many, many shades. This is a shade Grind. I love it because it's this like very soft baby pink, so it kind of works with everything. I love the applicator because you can put it on right on your tear duct. It's not gonna go anywhere. I actually sometimes like to brush it through my brows because I think that's kind of fun. It's very subtle. If you choose a color like this, it's kind of translucent. This is sort of an amped up version of the Makeup by Mario one, I would say. Still translucent, but like a little bit more amped up, a little shinier, a little bit more glittery. You just kind of put it where you want. I think around the tear duct is really pretty because it stays put, so you don't have to worry about it like getting in your eye. Like loose glitter sometimes can be a little bit tricky. Just kind of delicately dot it where you want it. And then if you want to move it around a little bit, I'm just using the back end of the same brush we used for the first glitter. Kind of taps it down and just kind of rearranges the glitter, which we'll talk about in a second with our last glitter. But something fun too, you can kind of like wisp it through your brows if you want. That's always really fun. Just kind of like put it in there and then get yourself a spoolie and like brush through. Kind of fun, like especially if you have like a bold eye on and you want to add some sparkle, but maybe you don't want to add a highlight or something. Pretty. I would advise doing this with like a sheer color like this one, Grind, but I mean you could go crazy. Maybe you want colored brows to a green or blue or something, but if you're a beginner, the colors that are more of a translucent base like this one and Makeup by Mario are going to be easier because it's just kind of foolproof. That is the Heavy Metal glitter. You can also put it on the lids if you want to, but I have something special I'm going to put on the lid. My last glitter I'm going to show you, the impact is so incredible that you may not think it's beginner friendly, but it's very easy to use. So this is from One Size by Patrick Starr. This is the Eye Popper Sparkle Vision liquid eyeshadow in the shade Everything and More. I just think it's so easy because you can kind of just like throw it on and you look like you did a lot more work than you really did. So it has a bit of a larger applicator, almost like a lip gloss wand, I would say. And it's very, very sparkly, which I really love. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this on my lids. I take a little bit of it, put it on the back of my hand, kind of build up a little kind of like mound of it right here. You want to work fast because it's very long lasting, so you don't want it to dry before you get to it. And I'm going to take just a small shadow brush and I'm going to just dab it on the eye. Now you can use the applicator straight to the eye, but I find using a brush and applying it just makes it so easy because you can put it exactly where you want it. And when Patrick developed this formula, the glitters is kind of mixed in to that like metallic cream shadow. And glitter is basically like little tiny fragments of metallic mirrors. So by doing this, you're taking those little mirrors and you're laying them all flat. So you're kind of creating this like shield mirror effect on the eye. So kind of just tapping it into place will give you that maximum pigment. And for me, I think I want to put way more in the inner corner because it'll make my eyes look a lot bigger and brighter. And the way I'm holding the brush, I'm going down like this so I can't get any on my lashes. So this is the Pro Shadow number 13. It's just a flat, medium size, I would say, medium to small shadow brush. Lays it down a little bit heavier than, say, if you were to use this brush. This is the brush I used in the last tutorial, the one I just applied the Makeup by Mario glitter with. This is like a fluffier, less dense brush. The more dense a brush is, the more pigment you'll pick up, and the less dense or fluffier it is, the more of a delicate application you'll get. So these are both from Sephora Collection, the new Pro line. This is the number 24 crease brush and the number 13 shadow brush. This is just a mini crease brush. That is the One Size glitter on my eyes. As you can see, it's pretty high impact. It's very, very shiny. You can apply a little or a lot. I went for a lot because I was sort of like going from subtle to medium to high intensity. And I would say when you wear glitter, pick a feature and stick to it, whether you put glitter on the cheekbones or the brows or whatever. I feel like having it centralized and focused really makes it look very chic. I kind of have it everywhere, but it's in this one little eye area. So I still think it looks pretty cool. And I would say all of these are super beginner friendly. Like, have no fear, just go at it, because you can wash it off, you can zhuzh it, you can adjust it however you see fit. But I think this is one of the easiest ways to apply glitter. So there you go. I think that was pretty easy and definitely really fun. So why don't you let me know what your favorite glitter product is in the comment section and how you like to wear it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hi friends, I'm Helen. I'm the national artist for Sephora Collection, and today on Beauty Newbie, I'm going to show you how to get a winged liner in just 3 easy steps. I recommend grabbing some tools that will make it super easy for you. Let's get started. To kick off this winged liner look, I'm using the number 22 brush. It's an angled eyeliner brush that's really thin. This will help you to trace out where you want your wing. You can use any brush that you have that is like a little thinner. So just make sure that you have something thin enough that you can really mark out your liner. And then I'm using a matte eyeshadow. Matte just means that it doesn't have any shimmer in it. So if you have a shimmer shadow, that's fine, but just be aware that it will make your eyeliner look a little bit shimmery underneath. So I'm going for something that doesn't have a ton of shimmer. And this is the Colorful Shadow by Sephora Collection, and it's 302 Roasted Chestnuts. You can use any shade that's a little bit deeper than your skin tone, and that's what's really gonna allow you to see where you're placing your wing. So just dip right into it, tap off any excess. And for this, you're really only marking out the wing. So starting from the bottom lash line, you always want to go from the bottom lash line as if it's going to be drawn up into the end of your brow. So if your brow and the bottom lash line were to connect somewhere out here, that's what's going to be the most lifting to look at. This brush also lends itself to doing like a stamping motion almost. So I'm just going to basically stamp from this bottom lash line up. And I might grab just a little more shadow. Doesn't have to be perfect because you're using shadow. It's really easy to basically wipe off any excess or anything you don't want to see. And then go in on the other eye, and I really recommend looking directly in the mirror, even looking a little farther away, so stepping away from your mirror so that you can really stamp it on so it's even on both sides. So I like to look at it a few times and move my head back and forth and just really make sure that it looks symmetric. If for some reason it's not symmetric, this is why you trace it out. So you can always remove a little bit on the top or bottom and then do it again until you have that symmetry. This looks pretty good to me. It's gonna be very lifting, and my eyes are kind of uneven. A lot of people's are, so just take a look at it. It might be that it's not the exact same way on one side than the other, but when you look far away, it is symmetric. The next step is to fill. So now that we have where we want to place the wing, we're just going to fill it in using the Hotline Brush Tip Liquid Liner. This is a really easy liquid liner. Any liquid liner will do it. That's really the best way to get a winged liner, is to use something that's liquid. It's a little bit tricky sometimes, but that's why we already marked out where we're gonna go with it. So be sure to shake down the ink. And for this, you're just going to fill where you already placed that eyeshadow. So I like to actually start placing the liner right against my lash line. This will just let you know how much ink is actually there so you don't get too thick too fast. So just press against your lashes and that'll really help. And sometimes you can do little dashes. It's up to you. Some people are really good at pulling it out and just pushing right against those lash lines to make sure that it's very symmetric and basically not a wobbly liner. But this is just a really easy way to make sure you have the amount of ink that you want on your pen and not too much. And then I like to do the wing. So take your liner, and I like to flip it this way and pull it down because the sharpest point is at the top, and that will make it so that's the sharpest point of your winged liner. And once you have that, you can basically connect the two lines. And this is the part where you can really customize. So if you're like me and you have smaller eyes, or your eyes can look like they're really close together, if you put too much dark on the inner corners, you could leave it just like this. Basically, the trick here is to look directly in the mirror, and wherever your iris lies, that is at the very edge of your iris, that is where your black liner will start. And then you have this, and that's it. If you want to go for like a more dramatic look, or let's say you're wearing a lot more eyeshadow, or you have much bigger eyes, you can go all the way across with your liner. So I like to do this too, and you just go all the way across. And again, use your lashes as your guide. That will prevent your liner from getting too thick really fast. That happens all the time, and this is just an easy guide that's already built in. So now I have that side. Take a deep breath. We are now going to do the other side, which is always the trickiest part. So the trick really with getting the other side is I always recommend if you have a weaker side, which you'll start to notice as you do liner more and more, that one side's always way harder to get than the other. Start with that one because then the other side will be way easier to get symmetry. And then also work really slow. There's no rush here, and the slower you go, I feel like the easier and more steady your hand is. And then right before you mark your liner, always breathe out, and that will really help you with your aim. The last and final step is to perfect, and pretty much you always have to do some little bit of perfecting. You might get to be a super master at this and be able to, just throw the liner on without any imperfections, but this is the easy way to perfect it. So take that same skinny brush, it can be any skinny brush that you have. I'm using the same number 22. And I'm going to use a waterproof makeup remover. This is the Waterproof Eye Makeup Remover by Sephora Collection, but it can be any waterproof remover. And shake it up. And I always put maybe a little bit in a napkin because I don't really want too much on my brush, just a little bit. So I must paint it on my brush. And even I had a little bit of an imperfection when I did it. So it happens to the best of us. And you can see here, there's like a little bit of a wobbly line on this side, whereas this side, it's really nice and straight. So taking that straight edge and just really gently and slowly going against that line to clean it up a little. And it goes away right away. This is another way that people create that like really thin tapered edge too. So you could always try that trick too. I slipped a little with my liner here. So just removing there. And just be sure to tap off any excess makeup remover and you've got it. We did it! Now that you know how to do winged liner, just keep practicing those steps of trace, fill, and perfect, and I swear you'll get it in no time. If you want more beauty tips, be sure to check out our IGTV with Beauty Newbie. And until next time, bye y'all!
Hey there! Don't scroll past this if you want to learn how to do a natural looking contour. It's not a ton of products and it's super easy. Let's jump in. My name is Melinda, a Sephora beauty director, and if you know me, you know I really like makeup that is quick and efficient and it doesn't take too long, which is all 4 products that I used today. I got to hit my snooze button, maybe even hit it twice, and I still got ready and have this really pretty, impactful makeup. So let me show you how I did it. Let's get started. Okay, so my brows are already done and I have some eyelash extensions on, so we're not even gonna fuss with the eyes. We're just gonna focus on complexion. And to start, I'm going to begin with Ilia's Super Serum Skin Tint SPF 40 Foundation. I'm using the shade Aura, O-R-A. I really, really like this stuff. I've talked about it a few times on this channel because of how much I like it. I have really dry skin, so it's super moisturizing. It's truly a serum for your face with foundation in it. So you get 2-in-1. Has this really cool dropper, and I'm just going to usually take like 4 to 5 drops to begin. And you're gonna apply this just like you would a serum. So split it between the hands, and then you're gonna press it into the skin. The same way you would apply your skincare. And this foundation is really natural, but you can build it up. So I'm gonna do 1 layer so you can see what it looks like a little bit more natural, and then we'll add a little bit more pigment just to show you how much coverage you can really get with a serum like foundation, because a lot of people think you can't get any coverage with this, and you can. Okay, so I'm just finishing pressing this into my skin, and so you can see the first layer gave me a really pretty dewy finish. I'm gonna add a second layer, so maybe a few more drops. Do the same exact thing, and this is just gonna add some additional coverage for you. You can see with that second layer, at least I can see, I hope you can see, but all my little red scarring disappeared. All right, I'm just finishing pressing the second layer into my skin. You can see it gave me just a little bit more coverage, and I'm happy with this. So I'm gonna let this settle for a second because it has so much moisture. You wanna give it a second to set before moving on. So concealer's next, just give it like 30 seconds and then move on. So now I've given the foundation just a second to set. I have pretty dry skin, so it absorbs all that moisture really quickly. If you have a little bit more oily skin, maybe give it a little bit longer, you know, a minute to set before you move on to your next step. If you have to, you can always use just a brush of translucent setting powder to help set as well. But I don't feel like I need that. So I'm gonna jump into my concealer. I'm gonna be using this from Kosas, and it is the Revealer Concealer Super Creamy and Brightening Concealer. It's a really, really good formula to go along with that Ilia Super Skin Tint Foundation because they're both very moisturizing and creamy, so they won't like contradict each other or get in the way of each other. I'm using the shade 3. So I'm just gonna take the doe foot and pop few dots under my eye. I'm gonna put a little bit more actually because I really want to show you all how impactful this concealer can be and how much coverage you can get and brightening. So I'm gonna build it up a little bit just the same way I did with the Ilia foundation so you can kind of see just how much it can do. All right, so to blend, I'm gonna use my handy beauty blender, a classic. And I already wet the sponge a little bit, which is what you always want to do with your beauty blender. And I'm just going to use light tapping motion to kind of blend that in. And I like to pull it out a bit from this area here to the high of my cheekbone because that brightening will kind of act as a highlight. And it'll bring your cheekbone a little bit higher, and it'll really pop once we do our quick contour. So onto the other eye. And just gonna work that in. I love using these really moisturizing, creamy complexion products because you get a natural glow with them. You can see like my forehead and the high of my cheekbones. You can really get that highlight and that glow without having to like pack on a ton of makeup or pack on a ton of like powder highlighter. And I feel like it's just even more youthful and natural looking. Taking what's left on the sponge, and I'm just getting the top of my nose for a little highlight, around the bottom of my nose, which usually is a little red. All right, just for a little extra brightening, I'm gonna add 1 more dot of this in the inner corner. I always do that with concealer. I always go in with the 1 last dot, just for good measure. I feel like that's where I tend to get the darkest too. So we'll just brighten that up a bit more. You can really see what good work this concealer does, which is clean, by the way. It's clean at Sephora. And you can see the impact that it has. So you're really getting like so many benefits. Okay, so now is the star of the show. I'm gonna be using the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in the shade Baked to do a little bit of lazy contour, if you will. Just not like a full contour, you know? We're not going super harsh. We're gonna make this look natural. We're going with a glowy, youthful look. So I'm gonna take straight from the component. I'm just going to add little dots of this on my forehead. The reason I like to target the top of my forehead for a contour is by deepening the shade of the outer perimeter of your forehead, it recesses that part of your forehead and makes the lower portion look even smaller. So ultimately, by playing with shadow and light, you're creating a smaller effect to your forehead. I don't feel like I have a huge forehead, but I like to add a little bit up there. I'm good with it. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of this into the hollows of my cheekbones. Everyone wants that, you know? All right, so now that we've mapped out our quick contour on our forehead and our cheekbones, I'm gonna take the same beauty blender. It doesn't matter if it has product on it, that actually helps you out because it kind of blends everything you put on your face together. And I'm gonna start on my cheeks here. And you're gonna want to blend upward towards your hairline. Look at how quickly that blended. This is like so easy. Okay, next side. And then finally, we're just gonna do the forehead. All of these formulas work really well together. You're not layering like a powder with a cream that might interrupt each other's performance or get cakey or something like that. These all blend seamlessly and really easily. So if you're a beginner, I feel like this is a really good place to start too. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and we can move on to our blush. Okay, so last up, we're gonna add just a little bit of color back to the face with some blush. I'm gonna be using from Tower 28. This is the Beach Please Tinted Lip and Cheek Balm. I love this product for a plethora of reasons. It's also clean, by the way, but I love how you can build the pigment. You can go from a really natural flush of color to like high impact, bright pink lips or whatever color you're using. So I'm going to show you how I use it on my cheeks for a little flush of color and then on my lips for a real impact. So I'm going to be using the shade Happy Hour, and I'm going to dip into it with my beauty blender again, just directly in there and just get a little bit on the top. And then I like to do that sometimes to find the apple of my cheeks. And then once you put a little bit in the apple, I'm going to switch sides and just blend out the pigment without adding too much more. Now, once you get one sheer layer down, if you find you want a little bit more pigment, that's fine, but I definitely recommend sheer layers because you can always add more. It's very difficult to go backwards and remove blush. So you can kind of just switch between each side of your beauty blender. And I'll dip in for a little bit more for the other cheek, and I'll target the apple for the beginning and then flip to the other side and just blend that out. Ooh, that was a lot more, but that's okay because we can use the other side and blend it out. All right, so using the same exact product because we like, you know, the 2-in-1, make it nice and easy. I'm going to use the Sephora Collection number 85 lip brush, and you can really see in just a couple swipes of that how much color you can get. A lot of people look at these and they you know, they apply it with their finger and they're like, oh, it's not that much color, or it's just a flush of color. But it's just application technique. And that's what's so cool about this product is you can use it in so many ways. I think a lot of people look at clean makeup and they think that it's just not gonna perform the same way other makeup does. And that's such a myth, and we're here to bust it because look at the impact of this color on my lips. It's incredible. I love how moisturizing this is too. I feel like with a lot of clean makeup you get skincare benefits. So you can get skincare benefits and the performance of like high impact payoff, which is my dream, probably yours too. So try it out. I promise you're gonna be into this one. That's it. Literally anything that makes it easier, count me in. Let me know if you have any quick contour tips or maybe even any clean makeup products that are really impactful that you think I should try out. I'll be checking in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.